Mike, Van and Melonine, and well met indeed. I'm Uruk here, Galu-Isen, the head of the modding team behind Divide and Conquer. Welcome back as we start a new campaign, finally, as the Dominion of Isengard. But wait, I hear you all cry and furiously stamp on your keyboards. Isengard did not win the poll. No, they did not. The poll ended thusly. 3,046 people voted in the poll, or at least 3,046 options were chosen, but people could vote more than once, so likely less than that. Dol Amroth won with 374 votes. Isengard came second with 364 votes. 10 votes in it, which is absolutely ridiculous. And then Rohan came third with 318. And the logic behind me starting as Isengard is so that we can have one evil and one good campaign at the same time. So Dol Amroth will replace Dorwinion, worry not. But Isengard will now finally be taken up. Isengard has come second or even won almost every poll I have ever posted on the channel, and I'm almost certain they've won at least twice, and I've just overruled it because I didn't want to play as them, and they've come second almost every other time, or at least in the top 5, and if I've even put them in the poll. But finally, here we are, Isengard. I'll talk a bit more about why my reticence to not play as Isengard or Evil Nations, and why I think actually I should not do that, so we shall go for it. We're going to play the long campaign because the short one is just defeat Rohan, and you can do that if you rush hard and you really micromanage to the absolute maximum. You can defeat Rohan usually within the first sort of 50 turns. You used to be able to defeat them in the first 15 turns, and I'm sure there are some of you that probably still can do that, but they get significant military aid to assist them at the start, basically. Otherwise, the Isengard campaign is an absolute walk in the park. Let's not beat around the bush here. Isengard would have absolutely annihilated Rohan were it not for the assistance of the Ents, and of course the coming of Gandalf and his key role in calling together all of the defenders and Erkenbrand and those that weren't at Helm's Deep to come and assist. But the Ents and the Huons play an absolutely gargantuan role in ensuring Rohan survives, and as does Gandalf. So if you're playing as Isengard and there is no Gandalf and there are no Ents, then you would beat Rohan. And the only way we can make sure that Rohan doesn't die within the first 5 turns is giving them quite a few troops. We are an infantry-focused faction, we have a well-armoured roster, and we are particularly good at killing other nations' armour. So we should probably fight Gondor, to be honest, because they're the only ones who will be able to get that into, or Lothlorien. But Lothlorien will likely go down quickly, they only ever have 4 regions. However, we do have a strong starting enemy in that we have one province, Isengard, and Rohan has all of Rohan. Our best units are the Orthanc Guard, Uruk-hai Pikes, and Uruk-hai Crossbows, and of course the Nazgûl. Now this is an opportunity as well to show that the ring script is working for Isengard, as we will of course try and obtain the ring and then hold onto it, because why would you play as Isengard and not do that? And hopefully it all still works fine. There might be a few pop-up messages relating to Ered Luin, because about 50% or so of that script is actually in the game, but nothing actually will happen. But without any further ado, let's go for it. Welcome to version 4, Eriador Ruined, or Eriador Rises. I need to reword that, because Eriador Rises is on all the UI work. I won't read through all of this, because we only read through it 18 episodes ago, and you'll all get to read through it at version 4. But I do implore you, when you play version 4, if you've never played DaC before and you're watching this, or even version 3, please do read that message when you start your campaign. It makes everything easier. Dominion of Isengard. Now these are the lengthy sort of intro ones, and I won't read that. But you can pause it and go back and read it if you wish to. So there you go, that's the Dominion of Isengard. I will read the ring one. Here we go. We have recently learned of a supposedly simple magical ring that turns its wearer invisible to the naked eye. It is of plain gold and seems to be completely unassuming. However, through constant study, Saruman has proclaimed that this to be the one ring, cut from the hand of Sauron himself all those years ago. Our task is now clearer than ever. Retrieve that ring. It is likely that Sauron also knows that his ring has been found and he will seek it out. Indeed, calling upon all of his servants to hunt it down. We should be careful so as to appear as though we are searching for Sauron, but when the time is right, declare our true intentions, to overthrow him. As long as Saruman lives, he can claim mastery over this ring and summon the Ulairi to our cause. Should Saruman die before the ring is found and brought to Orthanc, then we have no hope to control it. Uruk mines are no match for the power of a Maya. Only Saruman has the power to control this ring, and if we should discover its location, he must be the one to collect it. In brackets, Saruman must be the general to capture the town in which the ring is found. He must also have 7 or less ancillaries. If you capture the town with Saruman and a few other generals, you must remove the other generals out in that same turn. So, the reason I wanted to read that to you is because it's, again, a question we do get a lot with the Isengard ring script. If the ring is found in Foldberg, for example, then the army that takes Foldberg must have Saruman in it. Furthermore, if there are other generals in that army, then get them out of Foldberg the same turn you capture it, so that when you click the End Turn button, Saruman is the only person in Foldberg, and he has 7 or less ancillaries, which are these on the left-hand side. You can move and transfer ancillaries by having 2 generals in the same army. So, for example, Lurtz, some ancillaries are not transferable, but like Orc Draft, for example, would be. So, if Lurtz was in an army with another general, I can just pick up Orc Draft and drop it on the icon of the general who I want to have it, and it would just transfer to him. It's that simple. Diplomatic information, they're all at war with each other, yada yada yada. Isengard did have a few changes. I don't know if they were for version 3 or to version 4 though. I think they were version 3, so you may already have them. But if we open our scroll panel, you'll note that Snagga are no longer a feature of Isengard's campaign. They are unobtainable now. And instead you must rely on sort of early tier, well, you have to rely on Isengard really, because it gives you a couple of middle tier-ish units to get going with. Otherwise it's all Uruk-hai archers, raiders and reavers at the start of your campaign. We will, of course, have to attack Rohan first, and ideally leave Enedwaith to their own devices and they can just bugger off in the wilderness over there. But we want to get a few towns under our belt, so first things first is Lurtz will take Eisenrun, then we'll build a watchtower, and then we'll move over and take Bregnas. I think it's called Bregnas, if memory serves. Do we have enough to take Eisenrun at game start? I hear you cry. We'll find out in a moment. Let's go for it now. Straight in, Lurtz, me old mucker. Let's maintain the siege so we can see what the army is. Ah, it's Rohirrim, and there's sellswords to lead them. I think we can take them. We've got Half-Orc Bane Guard, who are ineffective against armor, excellent mid-tier unit, and Half-Orc Spear Guard, who are just a good cavalry counter. They are very, very good units, the 2 Half-Orcs, particularly this sort of early tier. And we're losing money with Lurtz and Ugluk out of the fort, but that's alright. Ugluk has as a bodyguard Berserkers, so he's particularly fitting, and I believe Lurtz does too, because they're considerably better than the Uruk-hai archers, which Lurtz used to have, to make it a bit more thematic with the films, but the Uruk-hai archers also happen to be one of Isengard's worst units, so Lurtz would quite often die, so he's been given Berserkers to compensate. But let's go straight in, shall we? Our first save, battle, as I like to call the battles. Always save before a battle. Divide and Conquer version 4, providing that you have used the large address-aware feature, or provided your computer actually lets you use the large address-aware feature. So a lot of people can't turn it on. If they turn on large address-aware, the game doesn't run. I don't know why, because my knowledge of computing is limited to how to edit and mod DaC. I don't have any kind of computing qualification. But for those people that can get it all to run smoothly, DaC is horrendously stable. I choose the poor choice of word there purposefully. It is very, very stable. DaC barely ever crashes. And if it does, for me, it's always because I didn't rename the Axe Thrower file, which you will not have to worry about in future versions of Divide and Conquer. So it is very stable. And those that unfortunately say otherwise, it is in about 100% of cases, it is their own fault, even if they do not realise it. Unfortunately, arrogance is very much the bane of existence in this 2020, and I'm sure it's only going to get worse. But people are so righteous in their belief that they can't possibly be wrong. They just aren't willing to entertain alternative avenues, which is disappointing. But there we are. So DaC is very, very stable. And why was I saying DaC is stable? I don't know why I was even saying that. Anyway, I don't know. Now, to the vote, a brief mention about the vote. Let's send Lertz on his own round this way, actually. There was suggestion that I should do a sort of secondary vote, a backup, so that all the people that didn't vote for Isengard or Dol Amroth could now make their choice, and could vote for Isengard and Dol Amroth. But I would say as follows. Firstly, the vote allows you to vote more than once. So you could vote for who you actually wanted, and then you could have a look and see, but the one that I want is definitely not going to win. So I will vote for this one of the two that look like they are going to win. So that's the first point. And the second point is that in the past, whenever I have done exactly that, and done one vote first and then allowed everyone to vote again on the second one, invariably the positions just simply do not change. The people that didn't vote for one or two vote for one or two in equal numbers, and it just leads numbers 1 and 2 to stay exactly as they are, but just even closer. Normally there's about 3 or 4 votes in it, but the one that wins the first vote has always won the secondary vote, if memory serves. So it just doesn't seem really worthwhile doing another vote, is the moral of the story there. I didn't check the sound, but they should all be the same. Yes, that's good. Right, we're coming in 3 ways. It is just an army of Rohirrim militia. For those of you who have never really played against Rohan or played as Rohan, I mean, Rohan really could do with having a little bit of a look at, I suppose. I don't think there'll be anything actually wrong with Rohan's roster, but it's just that we've not really paid them any attention ever. So we probably could. But Rohan's militia, and indeed almost all of Rohan's foot infantry, bar 1 or 2 exceptions, are absolutely piss poor, if you'll pardon the profanity of the French. Rohan are not an infantry nation at all. They get excellent cavalry, but the problem, of course, is that the AI is useless with cavalry, and so Rohan as a nation usually don't do very well, and we've had to try and do as much as we can to make the game think that cavalry is 10 times better. Or we've done as much as we can to make the game realise how good cavalry is, because the game frequently wants to put cavalry down. So we've done what we can, but Rohan are awful in the first tier. So if we just pause it for a brief moment, our first unit is the Uruk-hai Raiders. Their attack is 6, which is excellent for a first unit. Their total offense of 11, their charge bonus of 3. They're slightly better than Gondor Militia, which is the baseline stat for the whole game. Almost every unit is based off of, or is in a relationship with, the Gondor Militia, which is the unit we take as a baseline. And the Uruk-hai Raiders are better than Gondor Militia. This is our first unit. Their upkeep is quite low as well, so they're quite easy to mass. They're a good, solid unit. Rohan's first unit, Yorling Militia, by comparison, have a 2 attack and a 5 defense. They are worse by a full half and then some. Yorling Archers do have a 6 melee, but only a 6 defense. Their missile is 3. Our first archer unit, the Uruk-hai Archers, have a missile of 4. So you'll note that in the early tier, we just totally outclass Rohan. And this will be the case very much for the rest of the game. But the AI is good with cavalry in actual battles. It flanks you, it charges you in the side, it keeps the cavalry out of melee. It knows how to use cavalry in an actual battle setting. Unfortunately, the auto-resolve does not know how to use cavalry and frequently gives them awful, awful results, which is no fault of the cavalry. It's just for some reason the auto-resolve is something it doesn't quite take into account, and I think it's charge bonus, to be honest. I don't think the auto-resolve really gives charge bonus any weight, nor can it give effect to the fact that you would charge more than once. So your cavalry would charge in, and then they would retreat and charge in again, which is something the AI does do. But the auto-resolve can't factor that in, so Rohan don't do very well in the auto-resolve. So it'd be interesting to see where we get by actually fighting them for most of the battles. Now, a note on why I finally relented and chose Isengard. Now, I would have Isengard and Dol Amroth will be the two that win, do not get me wrong. When Dorwinion ends, then Dol Amroth will replace them. So your votes have not been cast aside. They will be used. And I've been reticent and hesitant to play Isengard since the beginning because I don't particularly like playing as evil factions. But as the head of Divide and Conquer, yes, we have a pool of people that play the game for us and give us feedback, but there's nothing like playing a faction yourself for finding their weaknesses and what you think could be changed. Particularly when you've been the head of the mod for such a long time and you get a better idea of a sort of a vision, if you will, of where you want the mod to go. So it's better to play as the evil factions to get an idea of what they actually play like, what they might be missing, and all those kinds of things. And so I would quite like to actually now play as evil factions so that I can get an idea for where I think their campaigns are lacking, what improvements can be made, and what I think is good about their campaigns. And Isengard is arguably the absolute fan favourite faction. They frequently win polls. They're a very, very well-covered faction on YouTube. Not just, obviously not by me, because I've never played as them, I don't think. But I might have played as them once, actually. I distinctly remember playing as Isengard a bit, but they're covered very well on YouTube by other people.
The enemy are badly bloodied. They have lost half their men.
Our Uruk-hai raiders are being offered up as lambs here. Our archers finally, they're getting wonderful shots into the sides of those sellswords. Yes! Without any fanfare at all. Captain Mogru has fallen. Mogru's not a very Rohirric name, is it? The sellswords have lost quite a large number. The archers are finished. In we go. Now, if memory serves, if we just pause it briefly and scroll to the bottom... No. I thought Berserkers were one of the units that have the Relentless trait, but I don't think they do. I think they do get stunned. Yes, they do. He's just taken a knock. Yes, it's Nazkai that have the Relentless trait. Nazkai, of course, being the unique reward we will get if we keep the ring, a unit that we can then actually train, or I don't know if we made that AI only that trains them once you convert. But Berserkers are a formidable unit, skilled against cavalry, which is really useful. They're effective against armor, they frighten nearby infantry, they have a powerful charge of an 8. Their attack is 13 to begin with, but you will note they have no armor, and it is all defense skill, which means they are totally... defenseless when it comes to arrow fire. They have literally 0 defense when an archer shoots an arrow at them. They do also have 2 hit points though, so they do have to at least die twice, which generally means if you're closing down on archers and they get a volley off, you hopefully won't lose too many in that first charge, and then you'll hit them in battle where your defense skill will then take effect. Which is exactly what you'd expect Berserkers to be like, isn't it? So they're a very good unit. A very, very good unit. I particularly like the Isengard officer, though, I have to say. The totally white helmet I just think looks fantastic, and that is courtesy of Reforged. I think that's one of their officer models. But the enemy is going down. There's only a few sellswords left. But these are the units that we're going to be playing with for some time, so do get used to them. The half-orcs and the Uruk-hai raiders and archers. What is still... Who is still alive? Oh, the bandits. How have they not gotten... That's ridiculous.
If we continue like this,
well, down they go.
Smash the enemy.
And then we'll be able to build a watchtower. Oh, we've got a Jesus pose. Something's wrong with one of the Rohirric units. And it ends! We lost 271. Most kills, half-orc Bane Guard, no surprises there. Armor piercing. So Isengard as a whole are not a horde faction. So this isn't like playing Moria or Mordor, where it's just how many units can I throw at the field until we achieve victory. Isengard are a dedicated heavy infantry faction. Now, yes, you do recruit slightly faster than human factions, but you're not going to be swarming the field with masses and masses and masses of armies. And that is not how we play at all. Which is good, because I hate horde factions.
Objective complete.
Alright, in we go. Oh, no, we moved it over there, actually, didn't I? There it is, Bregnas, yes. Ah, and Enedwythe are covering this one. But we need it. We've moved too far to the south, we can't siege it in one go. Lord Saruman the White, of course, has his own unique bodyguard. And to make sure that he doesn't impact on your campaign, he has 0 upkeep, because you can never get this upkeep free. You never get free upkeep for the Guard of the White Hand, so Saruman has no upkeep cost, which is the way that we settled on. So any unique generals, Aragorn, Sauron, Elrond, and Saruman, I think are the only 4 They have free upkeep for all of their units because you can't train them, so you never get them free, which is a pain. Right, we'll take paths in Eisenrun because paths are always very, very key. And mines, I would have thought, yes, definitely in Isengard. Let's get some money off the mines. Why are we retraining that unit? Melee weapon bonus from the Orthanc Stone. Perfect. Why is it only that one? Oh, because the others have already got their melee weapon bonus. So we will retrain those. We are losing money. And it's just a matter of time before... So if we chuck you back in that fort, and if we put... You can't train those as swordmen, can you? No. So we'll take one turn of them not being free. Saruman is free, so we don't need to bother with him. But we will train some units and chuck them in the fort to the south. Yeah. Because we get another fort just there, which is excellent. Ah, and we're a Barrows site, which means if the Dunedain take Isengard, it is one of the locations that they can train some of their more elite units. And is also... No, it's a site where Angmar can train Barrowites. Angmar, of course, far to the north, not bothered with them. Right, I think we're at an end turn then. Oh, let's send Grima out. What is our diplomatic situation? We're allied to Dunland and we're enemies with the independents only, so... Let's try and get some trade going with Enid Wythe, who are likely to not attack us that soon.
Continuing tomorrow.
I think Rohan will probably attack us as soon as they can, but let's just give it a few seconds and end the turn. Alright, here we go. Is this going to be a nice quick campaign, or have I done something to cock up the turn speeds? In 5 seconds, that Principality of Dol Amroth symbol should change... Yes! Success! The turns should be about 30-ish seconds. It's absolutely amazing, isn't it? Total War Warhammer had turns that were a minute and a half. Then they bring out this fantastic patch, and now their turns are like about 20 seconds tops, usually around 10 seconds. And here I am moaning that their turns were a minute, and now DaC's turns are considerably slower. And I'm thinking, no, that's fine. 30 seconds is fine. But then for DaC, 30 seconds, to be honest, is fine, because we are stretching the game to way beyond what it was ever intended. We've maxed out almost every limit that can be maxed out, and it's not pleased with us for that. Aha, we're making money. Why are we making money? Because we put them in the fort. We're going to get roads, we'll have the mines, and now we're at Beregnas.
Get ready for fighting. Kill them all.
It's just how quickly do we want to attack Rohan is very much the question. We could go gung-ho all out, or we could just try and, to be honest, I would recommend that we do just try and sit back for a short time, because Rohan will attack us. And so if we just try for a little while to get our economy going, then we can attack Rohan on our terms when we're ready. Defeating Rohan, of course, has to happen. You just can't not do it. But then after that, we'll be, of course, looking for the ring. Now, the ring, I think, spawns around turn 25 or so. That turn was only 15 seconds. Can you believe it? Ah, Derwath. Yep, we can move on Derwath. We've just got a secondary army, which is all free upkeep because Isengard has an insane amount of free upkeep. 6 free units from the Orthanc itself. We get 3 from the Citadel upgrade, and that is it. But that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And courtesy of the Orthanc Stone, Saruman is able to increase our melee weapon bonus. I think we should probably send Saruman himself. Why has he just lost troops? He's not done anything. Or does he only start with that many? Has he gained troops? I don't know. Right, we're going to leave Lertz as the sort of bodyguard in case Rohan kick up a stink, and we will take basically this entire army, save for those 2. Ah, no, we can leave. We can train a garrison, so we'll just take the lot. We don't know what Derwath has, but this fellow here, Captain Clothair, he has quite a sizable little army with him. So.
Objective complete.
How much money do we lose now? 1,000. How long until our building is ready? 4 turns. And in Eisenrun, 2 turns. Should have got building grounds and things like that first. But we'll have trade rights hopefully soon with Enid Wythe. We're heading for their capital.
Journey awaits.
With Grima Wormtown.
Are you sure? At your
Traitor turned most proud servant of Saruman. Although he's not really, is he? I think he's a servant of Saruman, but Saruman rather begrudges his existence. Aha, as expected, rumours from Ered Luin. Now, much of this is going to be reworded because people took a we need to reword the method by which there's a secondary evil, sort of evil dwarven clan. But rumours now fly across Middle-earth that a messenger of Mordor has approached Ered Luin with an offer, claiming Barad-dûr is willing to return the 3 surviving dwarven rings of power to Ered Luin in exchange for friendship between the Blue Mountains and the Mountains of Shadow. The High Elves have sent an envoy to advise the clan lord to remain loyal to the Free Peoples, but only time will tell what the clan lord's decision will be. That is only popping up at turn 4 because it's there for testing purposes at the moment. It actually happens a lot later.
What is it you wish to
Trade rights, Enedwythe. What say you?
Good to see
Perfect.
we could reach an agreement.
And
What else do you have to
I'll
say?
give you my map information if you give me 1,000 gold coins.
This proposal is
they're
of
not down with
little
it. They're not down
until
for
we
it.
meet again.
Yes, Lord.
Who else can we get trade with? Gondor. Gondor, you love a trade. Let's head to
At
Gondor.
once.
Get those.
Stopping here.
Get ready for fighting.
Rohan are just sort of dangling on the edge at the
Kill them
moment.
all.
Now, if we attack Derworth, Clothair will certainly come back to assist, I expect.
I will only address
Oh, he's
you
done
in
lending.
battle.
That's interesting. What is he? Rohirric Rebels. And this is... Yeah, so he probably will come to assist. We need to move swiftly now because we're losing a lot of money. Interestingly, Bregnas didn't attack, so they're going to rise up probably the same turn. Oh, Rohan, you absolute scumbuckets! What? Not content to just be alive, they now continue to disgrace us by attacking towns before we can get to them. You jammy bastards! Go on, you try and take it, and then when you die, I'll attack you, and it'll begin. It'll begin, Rohan, for your absolute... I can't believe what you've done. You haven't even sent a general with your army. Did you want to die?
At your service.
Bloody
Yes.
horse lords. Horse lords is doing them a service. A grave over-service.
Tomorrow.
They're not horse lords. No, you bastards. Sorry. That's right. Your mother and father were not married when you were born, Rohan. They don't really have a mother and father, though, do they? I mean, you could say Gondor and the peoples of the Anduin, and they weren't really married, but they were friends. All right, Ugluk is absolutely hugely outnumbered. Druidine hunters have special poison arrows. The bandits no threat at all. Captain Eochanan, sorry. 2 Berserker-style units, Elder Guildsmen, who are javelins now. Enedwythe hunters for fairly good archers, and 2... I don't think our army is good enough for that.
Pull back.
Saruman will have to head over to Bregnas.
Pull back. We must pull back.
But Saruman is... It's going to happen almost immediately, isn't it? And with Vale and Wood and Rome are allies, and Dunland and Bree have declared a truce. That's good.
At your service.
We need Dunland.
At once.
I don't know. We can't. We won't be able to get
Tomorrow's
Dunland
journey
involved.
awaits.
Dunland never help in this fight. Dunland always goes north, which is a shame. But we can't have Rohan sitting on our back door with an army of that net. It's going to have to happen, isn't it? I'll do it.
Kill them all. Destroy them. Is that what you want?
It's war then, Rohan.
No sleeping here.
Right, you go down here and go for this town. I can't remember what it's called.
Get ready for
It's
fighting.
around here somewhere.
And
We'll get
on.
Bregnas, don't you worry about that, we'll get them. Only one more turn till we get an extra 500 coins from that. Oh, we're not losing that much anymore. Ah, because the roads have already been built. Once we take Derworth and a few troops have died, we'll be back in the black. Ah, Rohan throwing everything at it now. Now they bring their general. Is that Aemir or is that Theodred? We'll find out. Isengard got its mines. We are losing money, but it's Aemir.
It will be an honor defeating you.
Do we go straight
Get
in,
ready for fighting.
or do we wait for them to all mass up and attack us on the field? Our best units, of course, we've got Orthanc sentries now. We got Saruman though. I say we go straight in. Crime and Netleys, Goond is ridiculous. What? What?
At your
Why
service.
is there a garrison
Yes.
of that size
No
in Goond?
sleeping here.
What makes no sense? Oh dear. Right, Ugluk, come back.
Objective.
Or go and sit in that fort. Let's get some free upkeep. We're going to go for it. Derworth is going to be ours. I haven't built enough siege equipment. I should have built some ladders. That was so silly. Captain Osred stands before us. And Captain Tronder. Tronder comes with nothing. That's just a garbage unit. That's like one of the worst units in the entire game, Scouts. They're just pathetic. Let down by the fact that they're cavalry and thus easily killed. The captain of this army is also Scouts. There are some Riddermark Axemen. They're effective against armor. They're not too bad. He's got Helmingers, or Helmingas, which is Rohan's best archer unit. So there's 3 of them. So there'll be some archer. Everything there actually, other than the Yawling Spearman, which he has 2 units of, is actually not a trash unit. Oh, and Yawling Axeman, sorry. So there are 3 trash units, 4 or 5. No, actually, it's about even. It's about even. We're going in. Raise the banners. Follow the hand. It is time to announce ourselves to the world as an eminent power in this place. Long have we sat idle in Orthanc, dwelling on what could be, what should be, what will be. Now our time has come. And the fools of Rohan must be the first to fall, the first to taste the bitter medicine of defeat. We've got a few archers of our own. And we will send them in as well. We do not need both of those, so you drop that, come back. These are... They speak with a unique voice, which is cool. Our enemies shall fall. And Saruman talks very quietly, but he is Saruman. The voice of Saruman is unavailable at the moment. Right, and then melee forces, which I'm diddling and dawdling with. Come and stand at the back. Let's have a look at the Uruk-hai infantry in all their splendor. There they are. Everyone's favorite evil unit. Heavily inspired, of course, by the films. Wherever you see plate mail, it is, of course, inspired by the films. Now, remember that the towers are considerably better than they used to be, and they might actually destroy our battering ram. And now I've said that, I'm thinking how foolish it is to have only brought 2 battering rams. Did they have any archers on the walls? No, they're putting back to the square, but they're going to have towers firing at us the whole time, I think. Send them in. Crossbows, I don't know how we're going to use you to the best of our ability. We'll worry about it in time. In we go, speed her up. The ram hasn't taken any damage yet, fortunately. Oh, because these towers actually aren't very good, of course. It's when you get to the next tier that the towers really do damage to siege equipment.
The battering ram is in place.
But you'll note they've done a lot of... Crime and Netlys! I've used that twice now. Dear, oh dear. Right, so I wasn't paying attention, and the damn scouts have come in.
If we continue like this, we will smash the enemy.
But worry not, because the Guard of the White Hand are one of the best units in the entire game. With a 9 melee attack, a 30 total defense, a missile attack of 12, which of course is a crossbow. They inspire their own troops. They're effective against armor. They're reliable in woods and deserts. They have a ranged attribute. They frighten enemies, and above all of that, they are relentless and cannot be staggered. Meaning they are absolute monsters, because it's the only way that we can make people like Saruman come across as monsters, is making his bodyguard fantastic. So that is what we have done. Now, scouts, though, as I've mentioned before, are a garbage unit, and you'll note that even blindsiding our archers, they killed about 10. They're just rubbish. They're absolutely rubbish. And to be honest, they should be cut for a more favourable unit, because they're just garbage trash, and no one wants garbage trash. Right, we're in. And because I was fiddling around with those scouts, I wasn't bloody well paying attention.
We've captured the enemy's general. That'll teach the cowardly dog to turn tail and run.
Right, we need to get through this gate immediately. So, just charge through. Just go for it. Well, actually, I really want you to cut over here and charge into this Helmingus unit. Keep them busy. Yep. Because if we can get them away from the walls, we can get the walls. Right, they're pushing in, but we've got considerably better forces. And Helmingers aren't too good in melee. Oh no, they have a 9 and a 15 defense, so they're a good middle tier unit. Oh, there are more of them coming. And they're protected by the wall, of course, as well. And the arrow towers are still killing us. But we've definitely busted in. You're all defense, yep. What I really want is to get our range units on the walls. And speaking of getting our range units on the walls, actually the best units to do that with are the crossbows and Saruman. Oh, those are Riddermark Axemen. No, they're armor piercing. Vanguard, get across and support those. Infantry, get the arrowed swords from the wall. Spears, push in, push in. There's only a small stream of units hitting into our side here. And they seem to be retreating to the wall. Perfect. Get Saruman up on that wall. The Vanguards are charging across. Move yourselves across. Right, Spear Guard coming on those spearmen who are taking a pounding. Nice. It's very evenly matched at the moment. The walls are giving them excellent additions. Saruman's entering now, and he won't have anyone to attack him because the swordmen are taking the walls. Swordmen, sorry, the Uruk-hai infantry. Legio 1 Isengard. I know some people really don't like the Legion thing because, of course, it's a bit of a break being in Latin, but we can't reword it. And I think the Legion system is cool, and I'm the head of the mod, so. Oh dear. Not that I let it go to my head. No, I mean, if someone in the team had said, no, I really hate that, we would have discussed it. But no one was really too opposed to it, and I really liked it, so it went through. That's generally how all the modding decisions are made. If someone is quite strongly for a thing, and no one else is particularly too bothered, then it goes in. If someone is strongly for a thing, but someone else doesn't agree, then we chat about it, and we generally find a medium. Yes, as intended. The crossbows are now firing into the heart of the city. Such a good looking unit, the Guard of the White Hand. Oh, absolutely perfect as intended. Look at the scouts dying. Look at them dying. Perfect. Your deaths will not be magnificent. They will be forgotten. As will you. Right, keep charging those swordmen down, please, so that we can get the other crossbows in. Don't be firing, you're just wasting yourselves. You guys. We've got plenty of units there taking out those Riddermark Axemen. The Spear Guard are now taking the Yawling Axemen down the middle. There's no general to be worried of, remember. There's no one here of import. Oh, there's heavy swordmen down the edge there, then. Can you guys shoot these ones on the edge, do you think? Or are you going to try and shoot those? Yeah, you're not having it, are you? Yeah, you're wasting your shots. No, stop. Stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. One whole volley from over 300 Uruk-hai archers. Not a single swordman died. Alright, let's just get the crossbows in. You're going to do more damage in here than you are standing out there. Likewise. Get the Uruk archers in. Isengard will reign supreme. Rohan is ready to fall. Right, Orthanc sentries. Now, Orthanc sentries were reworked, by the way, and they are not the elite unit that you might think they are. They are still a relatively good crossbow unit because crossbows are effective against armor, but their missile attack is now only 6. They are no longer elites. They have been specifically reworked. Now, again, I can't remember if that was for version 3. And so you may all have that reworked version of Orthanc sentries. But it may have been for version 4. And I think it is for version 4. So there are a few changes to Isengard. If it is for version 4, but I just can't remember. But no, they're now a very early tier crossbow unit. They're not elites anymore. Those swordmen on the walls are going to go down. We could get many more archers in than that if we actually just charge them in like that. Sword sentries, if you pause, then you should hopefully regroup. Aha, they're routing. Right, run up here. You're going to flank the square. There we are, we're all in. We're all in. Everyone can fire at will as well. Just absolutely saturate that square with fire. Isn't there another unit that was at the back over there? Where have they gone? Oh no, they must have charged through. Yes, they have. There they are. Oh, I thought Isengard get in and support the front because it is actually falling. So you two, you're going to flank.
The battle is very much in our favour. Victory will be ours.
You're going right around the back, and I know you're probably quite tired, but Saruman has lost a few people as well. Right, do your voice, which I believe causes infighting in enemies, which just makes them briefly stun, basically. Ah, did we win the wall there as well? No, there are some units. Oh, they're fleeing. They're fleeing. Don't worry, they're fleeing. Right, get the swordman down off the wall. Support the spear guard. Right, you guys stop and just fire at whoever you like. You stop and fire at whoever you like. Our flanking force is ready.
The battle is very much in our favour. Victory will be ours.
And a large starting Rohan army will go down. But do remember, Rohan get plenty of support. This will not be the end for them. Oh, the Guard of the White Hand have just finished with their arrows, just as I was about to suggest. I think they have the faster firing crossbow animation as well. Oh, the scouts have moved to try and stop you. As I was saying, the scouts are awful because whilst their stats aren't 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, they are like 3 and 3, I think. Should we have a look? 4 attack and 3 total defense. Because they are a horse, obviously they have a much bigger hitbox, and so the game allows them to be hit by more units. So they die quicker. And so when their stats are only 4 total defense, and you are a horse unit, it just means you're basically not going to do anything. You will constantly die. Oh, I panicked there. I thought that was going to be our general. But it's over. 738 brave Uruks fell, and over 1,500 Rohan usurpers died. Guard of the Hand took the most, 291, and Uruk-hai infantry second, 244, which is not surprising as they are the 2 best units in the army here today. Here today! I will bring you a second Isengard video this week, as this one, of course, is now calling to a close. But I will give you a second Isengard video this week, and probably actually a third. I think there won't be a Warhammer 2 video this week. It will all be Isengard, because I like to do 3 videos back to back when we start a campaign. Next week there will be a lore video, but I have no idea what it's going to be on. I should probably do something Isengard related to tie it in, actually, shouldn't I? So maybe I'll consider that. I've still yet to record it. It is next Monday. And then next week, of course, our Total War Warhammer 2 campaign with Réponse de Lyonesse will continue. Death to the Undead. We'll just simply occupy that. So now we've got rebels to contend with who didn't help us in the slightest, which is bloody brilliant. But the army that seems to be coming from Rohan is not a threat at the moment. They're sending piecemeal, pathetic nothings. But if you go and stand on that bridge, that'd be smashing. We didn't train an archer unit, curses. But we're making money, so we'll take that unit. No, take the Reavers, take the Reavers. Reavers, of course, are an armor-piercing unit as well. Isengard gets so many armor-piercing units in the start. If we just take a brief look through the starting roster, Berserkers, armor-piercing. Uruk-Reavers, armor-piercing. Uruk-Baneguard, armor-piercing. And Orthanc Sentries, also armor-piercing. If you also consider the fact that Saruman will most likely be leading your armies, and he is also armor-piercing, then it's just overwhelming. Armor is never a threat to Isengard. Which I think they're just they're a really good all-round faction, really. Except, of course, you have no cavalry. Well, you do get wargs, but they're nothing to be writing home about. Simple warg marauders. They're just nothing extreme. They're very average cavalry. But anyway, that is going to be where I'm going to end this first of the episode. So I do hope you're happy with the decision to do Isengard first and Dol Amroth once Dorwinion ends. I will probably do Dol Amroth as a total war campaign because we haven't done one for quite some time. If you are not in favour of that idea, and I will probably put a poll up about it actually in the next Isengard episode, just so that we're not out polling at the start. But we'll pop a poll up sometime this week in one of the videos about whether Dol Amroth should be a total war campaign. But otherwise, there'll be a couple more Isengard episodes this week, and then that'll be it. So, also, the very best of New Year's and indeed the new decade to each and every one of you. I do hope it brings peace and prosperity to all, for that's all one can hope in our little lives, is it not? So, a Happy New Year. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you're looking forward to playing as Isengard. I hope you're looking forward to version 4. And until we speak again, dear friends, Navair Neden Peremat Melonin, and farewell.